everybody. I got a great guest today on Full Throttle Leaders Podcast, Pete Shelton from Fullcast, a company that I know very well. We've already had Guy and a couple other folks from Fullcast, Amy, on the show, and we just want to welcome the CRO, Pete Shelton from Fullcast. How you doing?
Good, Michael. It's good to see you. It's good to be here.
Tell me how long you've been at Fullcast now.
Yeah, about a year and a half.
Huh?
Yeah, a year
And
and a half is.
where were you before that?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I've the executive team, a lot of my sales team, I've worked with at a previous organization that we built up and then sold. So this is my first foray into go to market, right? It's been, for the last 18 months, really learning the go to market. Always have been in sales, so always have interacted with all the go to market folks. But now having a platform to go, to sell for go to market has been a different lens on that.
So tell me about the Fullcast platform.
Yeah. So at the heart of what we're doing, right? We start with territory planning. There's a lot of complexity around not just getting your territories planned and balanced, but then the continuous management of that. And then that feeds into now you've got to figure out all the quotas for the sales team, how to maximize the performance. You've got to calculate accurate commissions. And then there's forecasting element as well. And then behind all of it is just how you get more production from the same team, which is really important in the market right now.
And how much of that has changed from a year and a half where the AI is now more prevalent? Like, did the platform change a lot with AI?
Yeah, our specific platform, we leaned into MCP very, very early, so that you can, you can tell the platform what you want to do in natural language and have it action for you. Bigger picture though, the recent change is that there's a lot of organizations, working with Claude directly or with other, toolboxes, other AI toolboxes to try to develop their own go-to-market tech. And so we've taken an approach with, from an AI native perspective, and ultimately the entire go-to-market stack will be AI native. Like that's where the market's going. So we see that. And so what we've done, our approach is I mentioned we have a forecasting element, right? We acquired an organization that does forecasting and revenue intelligence, but we are starting from the ground up, and we've got in alpha right now an AI native forecasting platform that is the foundation to bring over ultimately territory planning, quota management, sales capacity, commission calculation. So launching with the forecast AI native and revenue intelligence, and that's the foundation, and then everything else moves over to it. There are certain capabilities that have to be perfectly accurate. A commission has to be to the penny. A territory, you can't move an account without considering all the details, and it needs to be very accurate. So you need to be measured with when you actually turn AI or when you unleash that power to AI. So that's why we're taking this approach where we've got, AI embedded territory planning and commission calculation, AI native forecasting, and then you roll everything into AI native at the time where you can be perfectly accurate.
And that company you were talking about, was that Guy Rubin's company?
Yeah, so that's Epsta. Epsta is the now a Fullcast company, for revenue intelligence.
And then tell me about your internal sales team right now and how big your company is and what's your target ICP for Fullcast.
Yeah. Our customers, as soon as there's 40 to 50 plus sellers, it gets complicated on the go-to-market side, right? The revenue operations side. So typically we launch with organizations that have 40 to 50 sellers or more. When you get into 200 sellers, that's when territory planning becomes really challenging. Doesn't matter if your team is growing, changing, reducing, you always have to have, balanced territories equals revenue. And so 200 to 300 sellers is where a lot of our customers sit, up to, 1,500 sellers, speaking with organizations that have a lot more sellers than that. So we're focusing on the mid-market and enterprise. And our ICP is anybody really is B2B, anybody that has a go-to-market team, across all verticals and industries that really have to make sure that their teams, have a mature go-to-market on the territory planning. And then on the commission side, it's 20% of the market has a commission tool. So if you've got a commission tool, it's working great. We don't typically mess with that, but so many organizations don't. They're still doing this in spreadsheets. And then some want to unify the commission on the same platform that they have their territories. And so that's where we focus on the commission side.
What would you say the average revenue per client is, or your target is?
Oh, target like average contract value?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we sell everything by module. If you, depending on what it is that you care about, where the value is, and architect it honestly, to be totally candid, our pricing right now is based on where the value is.
Mm-hmm.
So we have list pricing. We're transparent with the list pricing. We show customers what that is, and we'll put the modules in that add the most value for, and we'll make the cost equal to the value. So average customer is going to pay $80,000 a year, but it depends on the size of the organization, and that depends on which modules they care about. So it wildly varies. Some of these capabilities we have, like the pricing is published on the website, right?
What would you say the best methodology you've learned in the last 15 years you follow? Like, was it Challenger Sales, Spin Selling, Aklovis, Miller Hyman? What would you say kind of stuck in your brain a little bit more than the other ones?
Yeah, so Challenger Sale is my favorite methodology.
What it sound like when you're explain
yeah.
how you go ahead.
That's what we use here, and if I look at the 4 profiles within Challenger Selling, that's the profile that I have on my team. I've got mature sellers. My North America team, I worked with 100% of them at our previous organization, so I've worked with them all for a decade.
How many sellers?
8.
8. Okay.
Yep, and I've got distributed
right?
across North America and Europe.
And then the lead gen, you said you had that outsourced a little bit, and then I think so. You just basically have the closers, but not necessarily the hunters anymore, right? Internally.
Yeah, it's interesting. I use Fullcast to distribute the current customers, and they are assigned to my current team. And then all of the target organizations that are in our ICP, I use Fullcast to balance that out globally.
You eat your own dog food.
Yeah. That's the interesting part, is my sellers have this unique advantage. We use every single platform that we actually sell. Yeah. I mean, all the account research that shows up in our Salesforce instance is done through copy.ai that we acquired, right? Yep. We're balancing territories, calculating commissions with Fullcast. Forecasting is Epsta, and I will it's Epsta until we've got the AI native. Then I have 2 forecasting platforms, right? AI native and Epsta.
Okay.
That we sell and use.
What's the most pressing thing in your brain that either A, succeeded in the last 6 months, or B, failed, but it basically taught you a lesson? So what's 2 nuggets that you tell my audience?
Yeah. So with everybody looking to see where they can drive these programs internally with AI, maybe using Claude, maybe using another toolkit, our customers they just want the outcome. They don't want to have to learn how to administer every single tool they've got. So we brought in a gentleman that I've worked with for a decade as well, that's built large managed services programs, and we do that very purposefully, because we've got most of our customers say, yes, I need the technology, I need the capability, and I might be able to administer it on my own, but I also need your help for the run and operate and even the strategy piece. And so adding that capability so that we can go to market and say, we're going to deliver you the outcome that you ultimately care about, and there's going to be things that you don't have to worry about on the back end. So that's as we're iterating to we're meeting the market where it's at. So in the last 6 months, that's been the big push. We've also got a lot of our customers that don't have all the resources they need on revenue operations on their side, and they don't have the horsepower on their side. So that's where we come in, and we
You
put that.
manage you manage your services. Then you were actually so you actually will give that. You could buy the software and then also buy kind of an extra module of people to help.
Yeah,
Yep.
the capacity to run for the run and operate of the platform so that you just get to the outcome. And you asked me about pricing and pricing's changes every single, quarter as the market changes, right? And so our opportunity is to, add more value for the same price. And so that's where the managed services come in. It's like support that is somebody that can do something for you, and that's resonating in the market.
Is there a particular CRM like HubSpot, Sales, Salesforce? Trying to think of any other ones that if you have that, you're fit hands
Yep.
down.
Our technology is purpose built, very deep integration with Salesforce, very deep integration with ServiceNow. So all the rules and policies, all the automation, every single capability that a customer needs and the complicated go to market works in those two CRMs. Now, there's customers that, I don't want to say it depends, but there's customers that, have different places where their data lives for like commission calculations. And so, yes, we have to connect to every different platform. But when we're showing the value of our platform, a customer has either Salesforce CRM or ServiceNow CRM.
So HubSpot, what happens with that installed
You
base?
can you can balance the territories. You can get to balance territories, but the rules and policies, the continuous go to market, the continuous, all of that. That's the part that does not happen in a Salesforce when somebody has HubSpot. And so to me, and there's customers that's all they want to do is just balance territories, and that's great. But when you really want to run your go to market and do continuous planning, that's when you need Salesforce or ServiceNow.
And so, as we wrap this up, who is the best person or email address or website to reach out to get more information on Fullcast?
Yeah, at fullcast.io, there's all the standard calls to action, right? Book a demo. We don't typically just jump into a demo. We ask a couple questions in the form of what it is you're looking for, which capabilities that are most interesting that you're trying to solve. And then, it goes directly to one of my, senior account executives, and these guys are very consultative, right? They will quickly understand where the customer is, what they're trying to solve. And then, yes, we end up showing them, but that's the best way. That's the best way is to populate a few fields in the form. And then from there, and I'm happy to give my personal email address as well. I triage, leads all the time. And that's pete.shelton@fullcast.com. But for the most part, people are hitting our website, looking at the capabilities, filling out the form. It's very short. And then they get directly, they're presented with a calendar that works with their schedule. Then they work directly with one of our senior account executives. We get right to the point.
Well, thanks for your time, Pete. Appreciate you. Please reach out to Pete Shelton at what he just told you. I'm Michael Falato, GTM Full Throttle, right there in the back. We basically do email, LinkedIn, roundtable, masterminds, podcasts like this for our clients to help them through top of funnel. And hopefully you can reach out to either of us for any of your help. Thanks for joining, Pete, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Michael. Good to see you.